Hello, I've rebranded my YouTube channel. So it used to go by the name Cat Liente, but now it's Cat and Chat because my name is Cat and I also have a cat, which is why I'm waving this cat stick around. And today we're gonna chat about somebody that commissioned an artist, did not like the art they got, so proceeded to shit talk them and be weirdly smex pesty. Let's get into this. But we have this post made by Twitter user chaos space grem, if I read that right, who goes by the handle space gremlin. I'll just call them grem because that seems to be kind of like their little handles, calling out Maxine Shorkey bits. So Maxine and I were in a group chat together on Twitter. We moved to Discord after a while. According to her, I ripped her off and owe her lots of money, and I just exploited her amongst other things. I was fairly patient on when she sent me money. So these conversations started December 16, 2024, with Sharky, or Maxine, writing, "Hope you're good," and Grem saying, "I'm high right now, so just chilling." Sharky says, "Hey sweetie, let me know if you want to call at some point. I want to wish you a Merry Christmas with my voice. And also, I am paying you for your commission today." Grem says, "I can call once I get my internet back, which is hopefully this weekend." And Sharky says, "I'm really glad. I love you, sweetie. I hope you're doing okay." Grem says, "I am. I love you too, Maxine. I hope your day is going well." Then Grem says, "And I even reduced the original price for her. The original price was like $10 to $15, and I only charged her $5. She then decided to add a tip, which I never asked for." And here Sharky says, "I sent you a bit of a tip too, since he said it was $5 and I felt that was too little. I gave you $2 extra. By the way, are you a specs worker? I'm totally okay if you are, and I'm not going to shame you or think worse of you. I just saw one of the payment comments on there that was a little weird, so I'm curious." And Grem says, "No, I'm not. A lot of people find my body attractive anyways. I just do art comms. I tried something similar to Smex work once, just selling news. It didn't end well." And then Sharky was talking about running a Fansly, and Grem says, "I mean, if I'm ever offered money for nudes, I would gladly accept, but just after that last experience, nah. You didn't have to give me a tip, but I appreciate though. Thank you so much, Maxine." The price of the commission is very low. $5 for art comm, really, really, really low. And you might be like, "Oh, it's such a small amount of money. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, why make a video about it?" It's just because, like, guns blazing out the gate, just started talking, "Are you a sex worker?" That's just kind of crazy to me. We have proof of Maxine paying Grem for the comm. They paid $7. And this is where it gets kind of egregious. So Grem says, "Of course, let's not forget the constant sexualization. I was currently and still am getting over some things related to SA and being sexualized, still processing a lot. So I didn't exactly notice in the moment and just went along with it." So here, Maxine is like, "Well, I think you're pretty attractive." Grem says, "I don't think I am." And Sharky says, "Bro, be honest. You would want to F me if I asked you IRL, and I would let you. Let's drop the games. So be honest. You want to call and be naughty, send stuff to each other, be cute and sexy, then make the move?" And then Grem says, "I can't right now. I don't have internet, but once I get internet, sure, I'd be down sometime." But this is just like kind of crazy out the gate, coming in hot. And then Sharky says, or Maxine says, "Yay, I'm excited. Honestly, I wish I could see you now. I'm stiffed up." And Grem says, "I'm sorry, XD." This is painful for me to read out loud, by the way. And Sharky says, "You're fine, hun. Be honest, what drew you to me?" And Grem says, "I have to say you're genuinely sweet personality. You're a really nice friend to talk to. You aren't really judgmental or anything, just pretty chill and fun to talk to." And Sharky says, "That's actually really wholesome. I think you've been through a lot and I'm super protective of you. And you have actual talent and want to be a better person. Plus, you're very cute. You seem to have a good group of online friends. They're also just nice to talk to and generally pleasant to ever interact with. And now that I'm thinking more about this, I really, really, really wish I could just absolutely plow you into the bed." My jaw is on the floor because this is wild. Let me look it up. That might be within travel distance of me if I took a day trip. I could probably just drive over there and make an absolute mess out of your cute little self, and then yeah. It's about 4 hours, honestly. If I could stay there for a few hours, absolutely plowing the shit out of you and making you feel nice and loved, I would 100% make the trip. And Grem says, "OMG," and Sharky says, "Sorry, I don't know if you're even okay about talking about that possibility." And this is all on the same day, by the way. And then Grem says, "More sexualization from Maxine and also being pressured into sending photos. Although I did take a fertility test recently, and if we did do it, I would probably need to always use a condom." That's also true. Turns out even though I'm able to release like 8 times in a day, I have a very fertile load. And Grem says, "OMG," and Sharky says, "A condom 100%. Even if I pulled out and blew on your cheeks or in your mouth, I would probably still get you pregnant with triplets." Damn, I'm getting really worked up thinking about this. Do you mind if I enjoy myself and come back to you? And Grem says, "That's fine, LOL." And Sharky says, "I mean, if you have any stuff you'd like to give me, maybe some photos or videos, I wouldn't be opposed, heart. You might even get some in return." And Grem says, "I'll send some later, not really in a comfortable state with my body right now." And Sharky says, "Of course, sweetie, never feel obligated. Just know that no matter what your body is right now, mommy would love licking and kissing every part of it." And Grem says, "Thank you." And Sharky says, "Maybe leave Bart marks. How about you? Send me some, 2D suspicious material or corn scenes that you want me to do to you if I ever come down and see you. Might get you comfortable." And Grem says, I'll have to look for some. And Sharky says, it's okay, sweetie. If you want me to send you stuff, I can. You just have to promise to send me stuff back later. And Grem says, no, it's okay for now. Just, By the way, that was all the same day. We are now at midnight, but it's all the same day. And then Grem says, I'm alright laying in bed, how are you? And then Sharky says, wishing I was next to you, clapping, mating press doggy, I'm okay, I'm ready. And then Gremlin's just kind of like face rolling on the keyboard. I can't really read any of these out loud anymore because my soul is like leaving my body. But basically, the day after, Sharky is showing pictures of themselves because they're like, oh, because you showed me some of you, I'll send you some of me if you want. And then Grem is like, oh, it's up to you. And Sharky says, no, it's also you. Do you consent? And Grem says, I mean, I don't mind. So yes. And then here again, Grem is talking about trying to head to bed, and Sharky is like, good night, I'm going to self-pleasure to that photo. And Grem is like, good night, and then kind of like another face roll sounds, and then Sharky's like, enjoy that effort. And then the next day, Sharky's asking how Grem is. Grem says they just woke up, and Sharky says, same actually, tired, in the mood for some stuff, you know what I'm saying? And then Grem is like, I hope you feel better. And then Sharky is again talking about self-pleasuring to that photo. And then Sharky says, like, on God, the moment I can video call you and we can do anything of the source, I think I can die happy. I'm about to drive down and completely empty my lower body's contents into you. And then Grem says, multiple times talking about knocking me up, even though I express clear discomfort with this idea. Guys, I cannot read this out loud. I will actually lose it if I do. But you can read it with your eyeballs. And basically, Sharky is very, very in detail talking about their body's liquid going into Grem. And Grem is like, I prefer if he didn't knock me up or any of the sort. And then Sharky is like, well, I'll make sure that I can get us plan B or wear, a sandwich wrapper. And then Sharky's again thinking about coming down, being like, by the way, if I did come down and we did hook up, what would be the hard limits? I want to make sure you are heard and satisfied and safe. And then here Sharky again asking for some pictures. Grem is like, oh, maybe I'll have some old ones. And then Sharky's like, yeah, let me send a video. And then again, this is Sharky. We're now 3 days later, right? 3 or 4 days later, being like, oh, I mean, to be honest, if you did get pregnant, I would probably marry you to make sure you and the baby were healthy for the rest of our lives. And Grem is like, I can't handle getting pregnant, all these reasons. Plus, I'm planning to marry my boyfriend and it's not legal to marry more than one person. Sharky says, I mean, that's fair. I'm just letting you know if there was an accident, I'll be there for you the entire way. And Grem says, I get that. It really sounds like to me, Sharky has a certain, if you will, a pregnancy, getting somebody knocked up. The amount they're talking about is kind of odd to me. Then Grem adds, here is one of the many times I've shown concern for her, although according to her, I have not. So here's Grem saying, Maxine, please tell me what's going on. I want to try to help. This is now on Christmas. And Sharky says, doesn't matter. No one truly cares about me enough to give a shit. And I need to stop fooling myself into thinking that could be the case. Then Grem is showing some concern. And Sharky's like, that's wise. You don't want to date me, right? But you sure want to have sex with me. That's not caring. That's having a libido. Nearly everyone has it. Again, this just reads to me like, it's weird. This is weird. This is very weird. This is like guilt trippy, It's like kind of reads like you're trying to guilt trip Grem into dating you. You know what I mean? And then Grem says, that's not it at all. I never said I didn't want to date you. I just need time. I do like you, but I feel like it's too soon. I don't know enough about you to just jump into a relationship. And Sharky says, then you don't know enough to say you care or are my friend either. There's so much about me you don't know. So much only one other person knows, my husband. And then Grem is like, let me get to know you, please. Sorry, I don't want to hurt you. And Sharky is like, go ahead and ask. Everything's on the table. Because every time I bring up this prompt to anyone, they always say, oh, I don't know about like any question to ask them, which shows they aren't being genuine. And then Grem is, basically being much more reassuring again. And then Sharky says, I'm going to sleep on this so I can give you a proper response, okay? And Grem says, if I was making you feel like I didn't care about you, I wish you told me when it started. I don't want you to feel like this. Please give me a chance. And Sharky says, sounds good. And Grem says, take all the time you need. Guys, to me, this reads so manipulative. This is sounding like my ex, bro. That guy was manipulative as hell. Like the whole, like, you don't care. You don't really do enough for me. Da 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 da. So then it makes the other person like bend over backwards to accommodate you even more. And then Grem says, then of course, right after that, it's right back to the sexualization again. And then Sharky again, literally all in the same breath. It's okay, sweetie. I love you. I really do. Thank you, and I'm sorry too. I do mean it when I say I want to come down and make love to you. Not just F, but make love. Make you feel secured and loved. Every conversation that happens with this person ends up sexual. Like, it literally, all roads lead to Rome with this person, okay? All roads lead to the bedroom with this person. It's crazy. Grem is like, I'm still not completely ready for anything physical yet. I mean, I did some stuff with my GF, but had to stop after a while because I genuinely got overwhelmed. So I'm not completely ready for anything physical yet, but it's basically talking about SA trauma that Grem has. I just don't really want to like continue sharing their SA story because that's probably very traumatic. And Grem adds, I don't want to immediately jump into anything sexually physical with you yet. I know I've been constantly talking sexually about myself. Doesn't help I'm hypersexual, but also I believe this is the only way I can have any sort of attention. I want to play video games with you, to meet up with you, to go on dates, cuddle. I need time before I have another partner in my relationship because of what happened last time I had this many people. I know you have no ill intentions and neither do any of my other partners. It's just my own trauma and anxieties that are currently holding me back. So that's what I suggest speaking friends with benefits so I can get a grasp on how you love and see what I can do to also make you feel loved. By the way, like I don't want people blaming Grem for any of this. Here's the thing, and this is a very, very nuanced conversation. When you are the victim of SA, a lot of times it makes you do like a complete 180 and you end up like absolutely overcorrecting and becoming hypersexual. And it's because this unwanted sexual things happen to you, you feel like the only way you can take agency of your body is like thinking that you wanted it, right? Thinking that, oh, it was okay because I wanted it, so I'm going to engage in even more sexual behavior to try to fill this gaping void in my heart about like this really, really horrible thing that happened to me. And like you become hypersexual to try to justify it in your head, right? It's a very, very nuanced thing, but I'm just putting that out there to say that I don't want people like blaming Grem for being like, well, they were like going along with it. They were like okaying with it. You know, like a lot of it is done due to trauma, and later down the line you realize you're like, wait, I actually like wasn't really okay with all this like hypersexual stuff that I was doing, and it just made me honestly kind of not feel that great either. And it was like a coping mechanism to deal with what has happened in the past, right? I just want you guys to understand that. I want respect for Grem, right? I don't want this to be like, oh, they were asking for it type thing. It's always very, very nuanced when you have gone through such horrible things in your life, especially like sexual things, and it's really difficult to try to grasp it and like deal with it on your own, and you cope in any way you can. Here Sharky says, of course my love, whatever you need to see from me that I'm not going to hurt you, I can do it. I can give that time to you. Of course we can be friends with benefits as well, because God, you're absolutely gorgeous. Your smile and your beautiful face makes me feel really warm. And then straight back to being sexual, right? Where Grem says, thank you, Maxine, that means a lot to me. And then Maxine is like, I'm just really horny right now. I'm trying to self-pleasure before my girlfriend gets here. I want to empty these things between my legs so bad. Is there any way you could help? And Grem is like, give me a sec. Like, again, this is why this is like such like pest behavior to me, you know, like smex pest. This is giving sex pest behavior, like straight up. Because here, like somebody, Grem, is opening up to you about their life, stuff like that. Oh, look at my kitty in the back. And then you're like, you say something kind and thoughtful, and then immediately, yeah, I want to rail you up a wall. You know, come read the room, bro. And here Grandma's like, here, I was just talking about a headset I lost. Nowhere did I ask for money for it. She said she would buy me one and save up, and so I offered to do drawings in return, which she immediately turned sexual. We're seeing a trend with this person. So here Grandma's like, well, be able to call, got a new phone with more data, but the issue is I'm sick. And then Sharky is like, it's okay, sweetie. I could just show you what you're doing to me, what you're gonna be feeling and seeing when you're ready to make love. Is that okay if I call you right now and show you? And Grandma's like, maybe another time. I'm not really ready for that yet. I know we exchange photos, but that's different. It's not that I don't want to do it, but right now is not a good time. And then Sharky's like, it's okay. Do you want me to make a video of it so you can see? What name can I call you when I moan? Take a hint, bro. So here, Grandma's talking about a headset, and then Sharky's like, nice, I can get you one. And then Grandma is like, linked it. You know, I had one but lost it in my room somewhere. I have one like these, but they were wired. Might need to get wireless ones with the way my PC setup is. And Sharky says, okay. And Grandma's talking about it being expensive. Sharky says, I'll save. Graham says, you don't have to do that. And Sharky says, I want to, you hot bitch. And Graham says, thank you. I'll make you a drawing in return because I don't like taking things from people and not giving in return. And Sharky says, okay, draw us romantic and then us effing hard. And Graham says, LOL, I'll see what I can do. Another time, without showing her personal stuff, I let her vent to me and did my best to help. Here is, again, Maxine talking about something very vulnerable to them, about nobody that they know watches them. They're hated for standing up for themselves. They're hated everywhere. And Grandma's like, that isn't true. Sure, people may hate you. Sometimes it happens, but not everyone does. And not everywhere you go means you'll be hated. So Grandma's providing support. And Sharky is like, it happens. If I join a server you're in, they will hit me in 1 week. Bet. And Graham says, that isn't true. I can see if I can invite you to a server with some of my friends. It's mainly a role-playing server, but yeah, Sharky says, okay. I don't know. Sharky just gives me like emotional vampire vibes. You know what I mean? Like they just leech and leech and leech off of your emotional energy and use you to feel better about themselves, you know? Like, again, I can understand, you know, going through a tough time so you want to vent to your friends, but it's to me, it's reading very like, I need validation. Woe is me, I need validation. Let's bang, I need validation. So here it's another time where Sharky is talking about life being rough. Grem is asking if they want to talk, and Sharky says sure. And Grem says once again, she offered to send me money when I was venting in the group chat about personal home issues and lack of food because genuinely was struggling. I never asked anyone for money. I have people who can back me up on that. So here Sharky is stating, hey hun, what's your PayPal? Just woke up, say you need money. Grem puts their PayPal and states, if you do happen to send me money, I would love to do a drawing for you in return as a way to say thank you. And then Sharky adds, I'm guessing their OC or their Sona, stating, just draw Sharky, I guess, any way you want. She has no legs or butt, no hands either. And Sharky says, if you want to draw NSFW art of her, add butts or boobs if you want, love. I leave it to you. I would prefer NSFW TBH. And Grem says, I'll see what I can do. And then Grem sent a base and says, would this base work? It's the best slightly NSFW thing I could find that fits your Sona. And Sharky says, okay. And then Grem says, this is the last drawing I did for her. So here Grem is apologizing that the drawing might take a little bit because they have no motivation to draw. Sharky says, okay, by the way, want a game? And then they sent the drawing. And then here is how the drawing looks like. Sharky said, hey, got my art yet? And Grem says, haven't even started yet, just not in a good mental space. I'll get it to you soon. Then they send over a sketch and Sharky says, looking good so far. And then Grem shows the money that was sent, money for food, $19.40, and then some more money, $14.55. And then Grem added my last message to her, which I believe I was fairly nice about. Where Grem says, yep, now please don't message me again. I'm sure you saw my message in the group chat about me not doing well mentally. In the fact, all you messaged me about was the drawing that I told you I would get to when I was done dealing with the mental stuff hurts. I let it slide the first time when you accused me of wanting to use you, even though I'm not that kind of person and refuse to ever do that to somebody because I know what it's like. I feel like I'm not important to you in this friendship and I need to focus on myself. I hope you're able to get better and that your videos do well, but I will not be here to see any of that growth. Then Grem adds, the shit she's saying about me to my friends. She has not given me well over $100 and you've all seen from the proof above. So here's what Sharky has said about Grem, right? Yeah, sorry, but your friends are pieces of shit. Literally only talks about herself, begs for money, and then screams when she doesn't get it and cries when no one pays attention to her. And then treated me like shit without ever thinking about anyone else like herself. This is what your group chat does. This is how people treat me when they don't get what they want out of me. I gave her money and she gives me shit for it, then shits on me even more. She gives me barely admissible work after blowing me off for almost a week and then ends it off by cutting off contact because she can't exploit money from me anymore. No, I'm missing like 5 pieces. I've given her well over $100 and I got these pieces of shit and sends 2 art pieces. Each piece was like $20 to $15. I've gotten a total of $40 to $30 back worth of the things I've paid for. I'm tired of tolerating horrible people with horrible behavior. Which again, that is like blowing things out of proportion so much. That's some like crazy shit. And also, I've given her well over $100 and I got these pieces of shit. One, I would say the art piece is very cute, right? I guess art is subjective. But secondly, here is Grem's post, right? All commissions I've done so far. This is literally their art style. This is clearly their art style. Why commission an artist if you don't like their art style? It was like $15 for what? You get like a thigh up art piece for $15? You get a bust up piece for $15. Well, actually only one, right? Because this one was like a, hey, here's my PayPal. You don't have to send me anything. But like, if you do, I will make a drawing for you just as a thank you. So this wasn't even a commission. This was like a gift for a gift. You know what I mean? Like a friendly exchange, unspoken. So this wasn't even a commission. I'm guessing this one was the commission maybe. I don't know. But yeah, that to me reads hypocritical. And here Sharky sends a screenshot of what Grem sent and then says, yeah, that group chat is full of pieces of shit. No one actually gives a shit about me and they all pretend they had souls and morality when they really just wanted to use me because that's all she ever did. Complain and use me. Like, I mean, I personally don't see the use part, you know what I mean? Honestly, it kind of seemed like Sharky was using Grem, in my opinion, for their sexual enjoyment, right? Like, they were like pesting and fiending up in the DMs. And Grem was kind of like, let's put the brakes on that, please. And Sharky was like, nope, I want to bang you up a wall and drive down to you and do a 4-hour drive down to you so I can do it in person. Guns blazing, okay? And never once did they demand money from you. Right? You willingly sent the money. Unprompted. Literally unprompted. So I personally do not see it. So here Grem adds more sexualization except of another person. But person A sends a little photo of Grinch double cheeked up. Sharky says, is that you? Person A says, no, would have been funny though. Sharky says, pics. And person A says, pics. And then Sharky says, you got them? I'm getting them. And they say, I mean, everyone's got an ass. I have pecs, but not titties. And Sharky says, damn, let me lick him though. So Grem says, dumping all her issues that should be told to a professional on somebody who isn't a licensed therapist. So here's the conversations between Sharky and another individual. So here, Sharky is stating, if it's to insult me for my anger towards Christians or say that I'm wrong, I don't want to hear it. Okay. And they say, I don't do that. Don't worry. Why would I insult somebody for that? And Sharky says, I'm used to people hurting me for standing up for myself and vocalizing. It's common practice when anyone talks to me. So what did you say? Now that I don't have a friend group, I have to take my social attraction when I can get it. Now that I'm mostly going to be alone with my thoughts. ... You went offline instead. ... Sorry. ... I'll stop bothering you. And the other person says, I'm at work. Sorry. And Sharky says, it's okay. I'm really not worth your time anyways. Dude, what is the like guilt trippy language about this? I'm sorry, but this is why you don't have friends. Like genuinely, you can't be acting like this and have friends because they will leave, right? And I think this person, I want to be empathetic, right? I think this person really needs to work on themselves, like their mental health and their ability to process things that happens and things that other people do, because it seems like they interpret every behavior from other people as something as a slight to them. Right? Like this person went offline because they were dealing with a stupid coffee machine and customers yelling at them. And Sharky thought it was because they absolutely hated them. This is like narcissistic thinking, right? Where you think everything is about you. Not everything is about you. Like genuinely, it is not. People have better things to do. The earth will still turn, okay? And I'm not trying to say that to be mean. It's just, that's the way I view life, right? Most shit is not about me. That's just it. Like when my friends don't text me back immediately, I'm just like, oh, they're probably busy. Not, oh my God, they hate me, right? Like, if you do think like that, I would just say, hey, you know, you have an anxious attachment style or anxious avoidant attachment style. Let's do some research into that and work on yourself, because it will make it difficult for people to be friends with you if you're acting like this. And Sharky says, that's fine. I don't matter anyways. You don't need to tell me anything. And the other person says, also, I was looking through DMs. I couldn't find it, but I definitely remember it was me comforting you. But once again, not your fault. Just trust me on that. And Sharky says, there's no need. It's okay. I don't deserve it anyways. Like people like this are extremely tiring just to deal with. They're literally, again, emotional leeches because they're constantly draining any happiness out of you. So trigger warning for life ending. But here, Sharky, you know, puts like February 28 at 11:45 p.m. But the other person says, Maxine, no, don't you even dare to do that. And Sharky says, don't call me Maxine. I'm never my own person. And I am never going to be who I want to be. And they say, but ending your life is not the solution. And Sharky says, but there is no other solution. So the other person is basically trying to talk them through it. And then they say, what about your husband? And Sharky says, he is better off without me. He's better off if I'm dead. I'm just so effing worthless. No one could ever find any enjoyment for me. So I'm just going to drag his life down. If I die or live it, does it actually matter to you or anyone? And Sharky says, I can't make friends. I can't have a family that loves me. All I do is provide emotional and mental burden to my husband. I can barely run a YouTube channel without anyone because nobody wants to give an F to care about it. I can't work. I'm constantly racking up medical bills because I'm sick or in pain all the time. So far, nobody wants to give a shit about what I have to say or think about my perspective at all. So tell me again, how does that feel like somebody who isn't worthless, who isn't a burden? And the other person is trying to be comforting, stating that, you know, they have medical bills, they can't do art because they lost all of the taste, that they rely on comms like a total idiots. So they're talking about how they're going through things too. And they're suggesting that Sharky finds professional help. And they're trying to get Sharky to tell their husband about how they're feeling. To me, this it depends on their relationship, right? How close they are. But unless it was like a close friend kind of like sending me something like this, it feels kind of trauma dumpy. That's just me though. I had a friend who was like this, or literally, like, I'm not even joking, almost every single night they were talking about wanting to end their lives, and they were like up in my text like that. And I wanted to be a good friend. I wanted to be there. And I was like comforting them every single night. But then after a certain point, I was like, dude, I cannot. Like, this is way too much. This is too much for me to deal with. I have my own shit going on. I really want to help you out. But it's been about 3 months of this and I'm losing it. Like, I cannot. I had to cut them off because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. It was being somebody's like emotional punching bag, and therapist is not something that most people can do, because you shouldn't, right? Like, of course, if your friends are going through things, like, you want to be there to lend an ear for. But if you're constantly like this, you know, that's for a therapist, okay? You need to contact a therapist because they are actually trained, professionally trained, to help talk you through your feelings and emotions and work through it. Your friends are going to be there to lend an ear, but they can't do much beyond that. There is extra context there with one other person. So Grem adds, now mind you, Maxine is married and is like 30. Yet she wants to act immaturely, makes up lies about me and my friends, and guilt tripped us constantly. The people who are involved in this and are comfortable may speak about their experiences with Maxine too. As you saw in the screenshots above, I didn't exploit Maxine in any way. And I have other people who commission me who have the proof of that and will back me up if necessary. I hope Maxine gets the help she needs and improves as a person, but I will not tolerate making up lies about me and my friends. You are a grown woman. woman. Act like it. Let's not forget her guilt tripping to the very end. So here is again Sharky with the other redacted individual, orange profile photo, stating, yeah, sorry, she's speaking on behalf of the whole group. Basically, I wasn't talking about any of this shit and suddenly it's dropped on me and I'm blocked. And the other individual says, well, honestly, she's right about you needing professional help. Your mental health is not in a good state. And as somebody who is on the verge of taking their own life, I can literally tell you need help. And they say, another thing I want to point out is the way you react. And trust me when I say this, and don't take it offensively or don't take it like I hate on you. Your behavior is not good. I'm sorry. I'll be honest with this one. Once again, don't take it as I hate you, because if I did, I wouldn't answer none of those DMs from today. Another thing I want to point out is that I'm no one's caretaker. Look, I don't know if you were expecting us to take care of you 24/7, but I want to let you know that the group chat, which you literally said is full of pieces of shits, are going through their own problems, which I think you didn't even realize. And Sharky says, 1, I'm getting professional help. 2, I never asked anyone to be my 24/7 caretaker. It's a goddamn assumption that you guys put on me in order to justify cutting me out instead of actually communicating any grievances. I would actually argue, though, you're acting like you need a 24/7 caretaker. 1, they're getting professional help. Yes, but professional help isn't like an instant fix, okay? You should get professional help, get offline, and be in professional help for like 10 months. And then maybe we can go online again. I think that needs to be done. It's not like an instant fix, right? So we need to wait for it to like settle in. Now, secondly, again, my 2 cents about the caretaker personally, right, is like if you're constantly going to people for emotional validation, like everyone hates me, don't talk to me, like nobody loves me, the world will be better without me in it. You're putting out like cries for help. You're seeking attention from other people to validate you and your existence. That is essentially needing a 24/7 caretaker and the people in your close circle. You don't have to explicitly say it out loud, please baby me 24/7, for it to be a true thing. So Sharky says 3, yeah, you guys are assholes, because every time I try to talk about anything, it was immediately dismissed as new ones. And then when it turned out to be right and affects people on a massive scale, guys like to pretend it's not a big deal anymore. And apparently I was right in that guess as well, because now I'm being cut out instead of being talked to and communicated to, because apparently there's so many grievances that nobody talked about. I think it's just because they kind of give narcissist vibes, right? Like, because everything you talk about kind of seems to be yourself, how upset you are about yourself, or banging. And that's only going to go so far when you start talking to people. All of the above didn't mean I didn't want to be your friends. I tried to work through this. You guys made the executive decision without ever including me or asking for my side of reasoning. Well, I would also argue it's because you're not very reasonable. If they're like, hey, you know, like, unfortunately, having you in our friend group is becoming emotionally taxing for us, and we just don't have the mental space to kind of like constantly coddle you about your problems and your traumas. So for our mental health, we just need to distance ourselves from you. You don't take it well. So what could they say? And Sharky says, and finally 5, if someone is going through something that is intensely troubling for the first year of their life, and you guys' immediate response is to cut them out when they're having trouble and struggling, how does that make any of this okay? Yeah, I told you guys for months that I grow up and rage sometimes, but it does take me time, and eventually I do come around and apologize and try to be better, because we're all people and we're all learning. As much as you guys want to have understanding for each other, that seemed to fall on deaf ears when it came to me, apparently. I was just starting to calm down and getting ready to DM people and apologize for my behavior, but instead of actually listening or getting my side of communicating, and the rest is cropped off. Again, I would say friendship is a two-way street, and if somebody doesn't want to be friends with you, you're not entitled to then get that relationship. You're not entitled to be friends with them if they don't want to be friends with you. Right? Same thing with a breakup. You only need one party to agree to a breakup. If one person wants to break up and the other person wants to stay in the relationship is still over because one person wanted to end it. It's a two-way street. I can totally empathize that it's probably very frustrating to have some friends, a friend group and a group chat you were in, you were talking maybe every day, and then you get cut out. I could totally understand that could be very frustrating. But look, if they don't want to be friends with you, then why do you desperately want them in your life? Let's just move on, right? Step out of this. Find a new circle of people and a new circle of friends. Like, I don't want to be friends with people that don't want to be friends with me, right? If you don't want to be friends with me, I don't want to deal with you either, right? Because let's just mutually agree to disagree, and then we move on and live our best lives. You know, I hope you're doing well. I'll be doing my own thing. We call it a day. I'm not going to desperately try to claw my way back into people's lives when they don't want me there. But yeah, I think it's interesting because this post actually was posted January 22nd at 1 p.m. So this was actually posted about 9 hours ago. So it's gaining traction as we speak. And Graham says, In a reply to a comment, honestly, I never thought to ask her if her husband was okay with us being friends with benefits. I was under the impression he knew. I still should have asked. And here we have some other people writing, I mean, you went along with it for so long. To that, I also want to add, I again don't want people blaming Grem for entertaining this person for so long, for keeping them in their life for so long, okay? For like a couple of reasons again. One, again, if we're talking about the sexual thing, a lot of times people who have gone through SA and sexual trauma will, again, like I've said, swing a complete 180 and overcompensate as a way to try to take agency over their body. Because unwanted sexual things happen to your body without your agency, you feel like, oh, if I continue to seek out sexual things, and a lot of it, I had the say in it this time, so I'm taking agency over my body, right? It is a coping mechanism a lot of people who have gone through SA have dealt with, and they do go through that as a way to try to cope with it, right? So that's one thing that I first want to add as well. I'm not trying to say that Grem is like this, right? But in many cases, a lot of those people who have overcorrected with their sexual behavior later come to regret it because they later are like, wait, this didn't actually make me feel better. I actually still don't feel good at all. And yeah, you know, it doesn't really fix it, but this is like neither here nor there, right? The second thing too is like, again, Grem going along with this for so long. This is just my theory, right? My tinfoil hat theory as somebody who has also had people like this in my life that I went along with way longer than I should have. It's a couple of things. One, some people are just not confrontational. And if you're not confrontational, you just have a hard time cutting people off when they should have been kicked out of your life a long time ago, because to cut them out of your life is confrontation. And this person, Sharky, seems like somebody that is very combative, right? The moment you try to cut them out, they're immediately like, why? What about me? You hate me, huh? Like, da 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 da. It is a lot of confrontation. It's going to be a lot of back and forth. And some people, non-confrontational people, just don't want to deal with that. Two, some people also just don't recognize that it's like poor behavior. Like, that was me too, which is why I had that friend in my life for so long. It was because I did not realize that was not okay. I literally just didn't, like, I was like 16 maybe at the time, right? I was like 15, 16. I think I cut them off when I was 16 or 17. So I was a little bit younger than Grem. But still, I just did not have the capability to realize this was not okay. I thought it was normal, because I had other people in my life acting way worse than this person. So I was like, well, they're not like an egregious piece of shit. They still suck, but like they're not as bad as these other people. So who are like blackmailing me. So I guess it's okay, right? That was me back then. Then later I realized, wait, that they still suck, okay? And that I should hold the standards of the people that I keep in my life higher. And that if you do things that I'm not okay with, like I'm gonna kick you out. But it took me a really long time to get to that point. It took me a really long time to reach a point where I could recognize poor behavior in people in my life, and that I should not constantly make excuses for other people in my life. And that would be my point number 3, right? Whereas a lot of people who have gone through dark times or rougher times, they are very empathetic people. And as a result, they cut a lot of slack for people that they should not be cutting slack for. Like if you've gone through things, if you've been through it, right? You've been through the bad mental health times, you become typically, with a lot of people that I know, much more empathetic. So you're willing to cut other people more slack because you're like, yeah, I've been there. I've been going through some rough times. I want to be understanding of this person. I want to be there for them when people weren't there for me. And it's a slippery slope because sometimes it ends up being that you keep people in your life when they're doing a lot of damage to your mental health by being there. So that's like point number 3. And also point number 4, Grem in the messages, they stated, you know, like they didn't really know how to get attention from people. So this is like all they knew. In the DMs, they said, you know, like being sexual was how they were getting attention from people. And that is kind of one other way too. That was also me too, which is again, kind of why I kept that person in my life, because I wanted attention and I didn't really know how to get it. So I was getting attention from this friend, right? They were constantly in my DMs. So well, whatever, right? Well, I'm getting attention. It's not the attention that I really wanted, but it's something. It's better than nothing. I can fill this void in my heart a little bit, so I'll go along with it. I'm not saying these are Grem's reasons, right? These are just my little tinfoil hat theories as somebody who has been in a somewhat similar situation as them, although the person in my life was not this egregious sexually, right? But they were constantly trauma dumping over and over and over again. And those are the reasons why I kept them in my life for so long. I was friends with them for years. And again, that was the final thing. My situation with that friend was that I knew them for a long time. So I was like, well, when they're good, it's so good. And when their mental health is bad, it's so bad. But like, I want to believe they could go back to how it was, like how they could be good again. Good, you know, like all the fun that we've had together. So It's just that. And typically, again, it's always the people who are not confrontational, who are very empathetic and want to be understanding about other people that always end up taking advantage of. I'm saying all of this because I don't want people being like, oh, it's Grem's fault for keeping this person in your life. Like, I'm very glad that you're privileged to have a good upbringing to where you can draw strong and concrete boundaries around yourself to prevent these types of people from infiltrating your safe space. But some other people maybe did not have that luxury of growing up with, people teaching them, here's how to set boundaries, here's how you can like protect yourself. And they end up kind of getting trampled over by people. I just don't want that. That's not the narrative I'm trying to put out here. And we have other people with their experience with this Maxine individual. So here we have this person, pancake writing. I'm a bit scared to say, but Maxine did this to me too. Sometimes, despite everyone knowing, she included, I'm in a monogamous relationship. I'm not in the right headspace right now to provide screenshots, but many of my friends can confirm this, as well as a weird parasocial relationship she had with me. Another user by the name of Mox writes, this breaks my heart to read as I myself had weird encounters with Maxine. She tried to guilt trip and manipulate me, which was awful. On top of that, learning that she was actively seeking relationships with a significant gap in maturity only adds to my discomfort. For backstory, Maxine and I first interacted when she interviewed my friend. Initially, I agreed with some of her takes on art commentary drama as she approached them with what seemed like grace and maturity. She DM'd me, and during our conversation, I mentioned how much I appreciate her maturity on various topics and found her perspective inspiring. She seemed genuinely touched by my support, and I assumed that would be the extent of it. Unfortunately, it wasn't. Unfortunately, the conversations are no longer accessible since she deleted her account. So take my words with a grain of salt. Our interactions eventually moved to Discord, and our interactions were decent. However, she had a habit of souring the mood. She checked on me, but during midterms week at my university, her responses were consistently negative. Every time I shared something about my situation, she'd dismiss it or redirect the focus back to herself. It bothered me, but I tried to look past it. So here, Mock says, I'm doing okay, very sleepy, and Sharky says, same. Kinda. I'm trying to find if I could hang out with people in my area, but everybody seems to be busy or ghosting, so I'm kind of lying on my couch. If you ever want to DM or call when I'm free, let me know. And, Mox is being very supportive again, being like, things take time, people are probably busy. And here, Mox is like, I'm at uni right now, and Maxine says, that's effing fun. I don't know, I never graduated. And Mox says, I only started, so it's kind of meh, I just do my homework and sleep. And Sharky says, that's really boring. I'm sorry, I kind of did the same thing. Go to university, work, and then go to bed. Mox says, it isn't always boring. I tend to draw or spend time with my grandparents while I do homework. I really only go in twice a week in person and do the rest online. The conversation about university ended up with her sharing an achievement, which I didn't mind. I was genuinely happy for her, but there's a reason I'm bringing up these seemingly harmless exchanges. Beneath the surface, they reveal a pattern of behavior that becomes concerning. So here, Maxine showcases that on their YouTube, they hit 920 subs. And then 2 months later, so now we're in October, Maxine showcased that they got 1,000 subs, and Mox says, nice. So Mox adds, we didn't talk much until December when she shared an invite to her server. It was a kind gesture, but I was already active in other servers and I had too many join for emotes, so I politely declined. Her response to my decline, however, was telling. So here, Sharky says, hey hun, left Twitter. Shit was just too much. So here's my server. And Mock says, hi, I'm sorry to hear it's quite a nightmare. And Sharky says, yes, join my server. I'm more active there. Missed you, hun. And Mock says, I'm really active in many servers, so I'll pass if that's okay. Missed you more. And Sharky says, oh, I just don't want to lose you. Maybe you can invite me to one you're in. I cut a lot of people off recently, and maybe I should try to branch out again. And Mock says, you won't lose me at all. I'm not in really any servers at the moment. I'm mostly just there for the emotes. And Sharky says, oh, okay. If you don't want me around, please just be upfront. I've been going through a lot of people lying that they're okay with me, then silently drop me. And I'm just worried this is the same. By the way, you're 30 texting like this? Sorry, that's just kind of wild to me. Mock says, it's not that at all. I'm really just not as active as I used to be because of uni. I'm really busy and keep to a small group of people. I'm sorry people have lied to you so much for you to get that impression, but it's really not what I'm trying to do. Again, Mox is being so kind and supportive in the way they're expressing their reassurances here. Let me just point that out. And Sharky says, I know, I'm just scared. What you said about me and what I make really helped me through tough times. Times I didn't want to reach out and scare you off with the stuff going on. And here again, Sharky's kind of checking in on how Mox is feeling. Mox is going through a cold and Sharky is telling them to get vitamin C and liquids and some tea. Mox adds, she started guilt tripping me, piling on about how everyone leaves her. At the time, I was still recovering from dealing with someone similar to her, so I tried to reassure her that wasn't the case. I managed to calm her down. However, things got more uncomfortable for me. Continuing from my last post, things were fine at first. Then she started trying to rizz me up. It made me uncomfortable because she barely knew me and I'm 18, far from her age or level of life experience. It felt inappropriate and out of place. And then here they're talking about drinks and Sharky says, if you were a drink, what would you be? I would definitely be 7-Up or Fresca. And Mox says, I would be a Mexican Coke. Sharky says, may I have a sip? Riz. And Mock says no, crying emoji. And Mock says, I try to laugh it off, thinking I'm an adult, right? But then she kept piling more on me, and that was the breaking point. I reached out to my friends for support, and they told me it was weird, which only confirmed the suspicions they had about her all along. And then Sharky says, damn, they're not getting my fresca. I just wanted to share my drink with you. Crying emoji. And Mock sent a bunch of crying emojis stating, I don't share. And then Sharky says, damn, I guess the hot girl hours are over. Time for the sad bitch moments. I know I'm being really dumb. I'm kind of having a manic episode. And Mox asks, what's wrong? Sharky says, I'm not really sure. One of my friends with benefits was being shitty and I flipped out and we broke up. And Mock says, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And then Sharky's kind of sending a meme. And then Sharky's like, hey, dot, dot, dot. By the way, on a complete side note, if Sharky is actually 30, I am of the boat of people that think a relationship between a 30-year-old and an 18-year-old is weird. Sorry, it just is. Because here's the thing, okay? What does a 30-year-old have in common with an 18-year-old? You are 18. You're 30. You guys are 12 years apart. Like, is that not concerning? Look, I am 24. I have zero interest in an 18-year-old, and I'm much closer in age to an 18-year-old than a 30-year-old is, right? So to me, that's weird. Also, I know legally an 18-year-old is considered an adult. But if we speak emotionally, 18-year-olds are still quite immature. They are lacking a lot of life experience. Me when I was 18 versus me at like 24, completely different people. Holy crap, you guys did not want to know me when I was 18. Jesus. Completely different people. I would not want to date my 18-year-old self. No 30-year-old should want to do that for that matter. That is my opinion. So, Mox adds, to back up these suspicions and highlight her ongoing pushy behavior and disregard for boundaries, I'll share the experience of my friends, Sandcake69. That was Pancake. So Mox adds, Maxine joined Pancake's server in the summer. Her interactions were fine, and we didn't really pay much attention to her. However, she later DM'd Pancake asking for promotion for her channel, which seemed a bit out of the blue. So here, this is on August 9th, 2024, where Sharky says, hey, so sorry for asking you like this. I have a small channel, and I'm not really looking for any promo or BS. I don't even want to make money off anything I make online, or at least with YouTube. But I kind of have this small little series I'm doing where I talk to online creators and animators and try to have people see the human side of them, and also their process and journey. Because a lot of times in my past, I judge creators because of their numbers without really considering the human behind it. I've already had another meme creator on the series and I'm trying to reach out to others, but I was wondering if you would be interested as well. Here's a video for reference. And then they say, yeah, sure, let's do it. And they're kind of like talking at logistics here. And then Sharky says, I'm actually trying to pass the time waiting for my boyfriend to be done with work so I can drive us home. So if you want to just text for a bit or call, that's fine. I just want to make sure I'm not stepping over boundaries or anything. I used to be a shitty, upset person and I had problems with respecting people's boundaries, so I'm trying to be better. And Pancake says, I can't right now. And Sharky says, no problem at all. Just let me know if you can text or anything. I'm fine with anything. And Pancake says, I live with my parents and I have very specific times where I can call. And Sharky says, oh shit, I'm sorry. Been out of the house since I was 16, so it's kind of foreign to me about this. And then they kind of bump the message, you Gucci at 2 a.m. And Pancake says it's 2 a.m. and Sharky says, oh shit. And then Mox adds, despite that, Pancake decided to give it a shot, thinking it's good to support a small creator. What came out of this interaction was an interview which is now deleted. For context, she was going through controversy and chose to speak out on it. And so here Pancake says they can't call today. Sharky says, I completely understand. You okay? And then Sharky's kind of complimenting them. And then Sharky goes on a big rant, you know, with Pancake being like, yeah, it's all internet, so it's not real. That's what I don't really care. You know, probably referring to hate. Sharky says, exactly, seriously, like motherfuckers need to come off the keyboard and touch a tit, like once, and they will grow brain cells and realize the internet isn't that serious and people can make jokes and be happy without trying to make a thread or Google Doc or dehumanizing them. Sorry, I'm kind of passionate when it comes to finding others who legit don't take the internet like gospel. And Sharky says, sorry to bother, but can I get an 18 plus role for reasons? And then here, you know, Pancake says, OMG, I was canceled. Check out this small interview I made with Maxine. And Mox adds, watching the interview as an outsider, it seemed to shift from Pancake's views to Maxine's, with the focus often leaning more towards her. However, those who have seen the interview might have a different perspective, so take this with a grain of salt. To add on, while this perspective can be taken with a grain of salt, it's important to note that it's not out of character for her to shift conversations towards herself, often in a negative light as demonstrated in my thread. While some may dismiss this since Pancake owns the server, sending these messages were unnecessary. They were not yet at the stage for such a conversation. It bridges on Parasocial, but that is my take. Pancake tried to see the good in her. Maxine took advantage. So again, this was Sharky asking for the 18 plus roles. Pancake says, sure. And Sharky says, thank you, I promise. Not lewd. Pancake says, okay. And Sharky says, not lewd reasons. Lie. This is again just a little weird. Mox writes, over the months, Maxine began displaying parasocial behaviors, overstepping boundaries with Pancake. She even commented on Pancake's personal Twitter account. The replies can't be found. However, Pancake confronted her on Discord, confirming her violating her boundaries. So Pancake says, hey, I don't want to be mean, but I'd like you to know I removed you from my personal Twitter account as I feel uncomfortable with people I'm not very close to interacting with what I post there. Nothing personal, just a boundary of mine. And Sharky says, of of course, dude, sorry if that upset. I'll remove myself. If you need to talk, let me know. I can listen, dude. I've noticed you've kind of changed and gotten quiet, so I was giving you space and letting you process. But if you need to talk, feel free to reach out to people we care about you. And Sharky says, no, of course. I just want to make sure you're okay and you're going to be safe. I try my best to go after those assholes and defend you because it's never fair for people to treat kids like that. Honestly, it was so goddamn triggering to see this absolutely perverted shit being forced on kids. You have a right to be upset and you have a right to feel hurt. And whatever you're going through right now, know that you will never be alone because people care about you. Now get some rest, doofus. And then another drop for their freaking YouTube, writing, oh, dude, I'm sorry, but I'm floored at the moment. Showing, I guess, how many, like, they hit 300 subscribers. That's crazy, bro. Talk about pivoting the attention back to you. Mox adds, instead of respecting Pancake's need for space, Maxine rudely DM'd her about increasing subscription count. This is especially inappropriate considering Pancake wasn't in a good mental state at the time. It was inconsiderate and disrespectful. This is a habit. So here, Sharky says, hey, I'm so proud that somebody was able to address you. I hope this helps you recover because you truly deserve to feel good about yourself and your journey. And Pancake says, thank you. Sharky says, how are you right now? And then adds a screenshot from somebody else in their Discord, I'm assuming, talking about how a beloved pet bird was lost and Maxine is taking it very hard and will resort to lurking. They said the bird died from night terrors. Is that something like a bird dies from? Sorry, I've never owned a bird, right? Like, are night terrors like a really common thing for birds to die from? That's unfortunate that a pet passed away though. And then Pancake says, I'm so sorry for your loss. So Mox writes, I sympathize with Maxine and her partner over the loss of their bird, but her actions, especially given Pancake's fragile mental state, were still out of line. Maxine should have communicated her need for space due to personal loss rather than springing it on Pancake. Pancake is a kind and understanding person, still offering Maxine the space to vent during her difficult loss. However, burdening Pancake further in this way was unfair and not right. Emotional support should be reciprocal, and it's important to respect somebody's limits. So here is a really, really big kind of like rant Sharky put out. And again, this is only like a couple days after Pancake was going through their situation, right? Thank you so much, Pancake. I really truly do mean it when I'm trying to say I consider you a friend, and I hope one day we can become better friends. I'm trying to be a better person every day of my life and reaching out to people who are currently dealing with so much, but still trying to be the best they could be, like yourself and others I have met has really changed my life. I am really truly blessed to have met you and reached out, and I don't know the specifics of what's going on with you, but I'm also not going to ask you to tell me. I respect you enough as a person. I just hope one day you might trust me enough with that info so that way I can be there to try to help in any way I can. Today has been the absolute worst. It hasn't been this rough since my mother passed away a few months ago. I had him for almost 7 years and he was my emotional support animal. And Pancake adds, thank you so much for the kind words. I'm not in the best place to give the same words back, but I hope you recover and heal well. Grief is no joke. Stay safe and take care of yourself. And Sharky says, you as well, okay? Don't worry about being well enough to reciprocate my words. I'm just worried about you. I've started trying to live better without his little chirps and yelling. It's hard. And whatever you're going through is hard as well. And I'll be here when you're ready. Which is, again, like, this is kind of like crazy to me, right? Because if somebody is going through something, like, let's not talk about your traumas with somebody else that's already going through something, you know? You immediately being like, you as well, okay? Don't worry about not being well enough to reciprocate my words. I'm worried about you. And then, oh, here's how my life is so hard now that my bird is not in my life. Like, that is not what Pancake wants to hear right now. Mox writes, to further emphasize their parasocial behavior, Maxine's interactions with Pancake were invasive. She would insert herself into conversations in an uncomfortable way, often disregarding boundaries and making the dialogue about her. Pancake says, I'm mentally unstable. Sharky says, same. Pancake says, thanks, I can't tell if people are being serious or not anymore because something. Sharky says, Pancake, I swear to God, you're so pretty. I will straight up gay marry your amazing pretty self. Like, I'm biting my sheets. I'm frothing at the mouth. God, you're gorgeous. Platonically. So Pancake, in response to somebody else, says, I'm going to pay you a therapy session. Then Sharky says, bro, same. Once I start making money on YouTube and my coffee picks up a bit more, I swear to God, I'm going to start paying for your and hubby's therapy. And Pancake says, I'm depressed. If you get one shower from me, you're lucky. And Sharky says, I swear to God, do I need to fly over to Europe so I can be your live-in reminder to fucking shower and take care of yourself? If I can bring my husband, that's a deal. I want to get us out of this country so bad. Please save us. Please adopt us. Pancake says, my boyfriend does that when he spends the night. Sharky says, I don't care. Please sneak us in. We don't want to live in this godforsaken country anymore. And like, it's just written over with red question marks. This is so weird. Like, if somebody is talking about how bad their mental state is, you know, like that they're depressed, you're talking about how much you hate this country. Also, I'm curious as to how old Pancake is, but Sharky is like 30. If Sharky is actually 30, this is kind of wild. And Mox adds, for context, there were fires in Portugal at the time, which has understandably caused anxiety as Pancake and most of the mods live there. Maxine's responses, while seemingly innocent, became overbearing. So here, Maxine being like, new hair, nice, hope things got resolved. You know my DMs are open, Pancake. When you're ready, of course. Maybe we can even record part 2 of the interview. And here, I believe this is probably Maxine as well, but writing, also, hey, Pancake, I have been really worried about you. I saw your post about the fires in your country and tried to donate as much as I could, but money is still very tight. Whenever you feel ready to talk about it, you know you have a safe space with me, even if you ever only collab once. I care and I hope you realize that. But also, I really am proud of you for taking the time you need to think about and be who you are and stick up for your beliefs and yourself. That is so incredibly horrible and tough to have to do, and I'm so proud. You are a creator I can truly say I look up to. And Pancake says, Maxine, I don't mean to be rude, but you're constantly telling me this, and I already thanked you for the support, and I told you everything is fine, but you keep telling me the same thing over and over and over again. I think with the intent that I end up venting to you, but it just makes me feel pressured. And I agree. This to me reads a little bit love bomby, you know? Like, it seems like they are desperate to have Pancake closer, right? To get Pancake to like confide in them. So they're constantly being like, my DMs are open. My DMs are open if you ever need anybody. Like, don't forget, I'm always here for you. Like, I think after the first 5 messages, Pancake probably got it. And then Maxine says, no, that's not my intent at all. I'm so sorry. If it's really for the best, I can not interact much at all. I will understand. Didn't want to break boundaries. And Pancake says, it's okay. Just don't overdo it. And Sharky says, again, I'm sorry about that. I tend to care a lot about people and I really try my best to make sure they feel heard because I don't have that luxury a lot. I'm sorry I came off the wrong way. Again, like, they are literally continuing the behavior of like overly love bombing plus turning the conversation back to them again, you know, because I don't have that luxury a lot. Like, people like this is just so hard to have in your life because they're just like emotional leeches. Right? I really hope that Sharky can get the help they need and get better. But in this current state, like when people are very like, woe is me all the time, it's very difficult to have those types of people in your life. Mox continues, this pattern continued with Maxine consistently overstepping boundaries, forcing Pancake to shut her down. In my perspective, Maxine took advantage of Pancake's status to gain popularity and sought to earn brownie points at her expense. Again, that's what I think. So here Pancake is stating, it kind of weirds me out when people are extra nice to me sometimes. I know it's not your intent to do that, but it's okay. And Sharky says, don't worry. I'm trying to get to that point too as I'm getting more relevant online. I've had to push people away actively, even in real life, which is insane because I'm not even big much. Like, people are being actively creepy or obsessive or abusive. And Pancake says, yeah, it's okay, but remember, I don't really give a shit if I have 500 million gazillion followers. I'm still a normal human being and I like to be treated as such. No need for special treatment or extra niceness. I do appreciate the support and I thank you in DMs as well. And Sharky says, of course not. But also, I don't think what I'm doing is really just extra kindness. This is just a kindness I would give anyone who deserves it. We're all people. I think everyone deserves to be kind to each other and receive kindness in return. Honestly, I'm kind of disheartened that you think this is extra kindness because this is something people should be experiencing every day, including you. Although I know it's become a rarity, which is why I try to do it more often, even if people can read it the wrong way. On a complete side note, like, this is not normal, and I actually do not want people to treat me this way. Any of you guys watching, please don't treat me like this. This, for me, would be very uncomfortable. Pancake says, it's just that we are not really very close, so it feels a bit invasive. And Sharky continues, and I really hope the world can be better soon. What you see as extra kindness can be basic decency that everyone experiences. No, I completely understand that. Like I said, I'm just overly nice to people sometimes if they really do show that they have the capacity to be good people. In society, humanity need to be better to each other. The world doesn't need to be manipulative or parasitic or abusive. We chose that, and we can easily choose to be nice. But I understand your boundary, and I respect it. And thank you for vocalizing this and being kind, but also present your side of things reasonably. I really do appreciate that because, again, that's another rarity, especially online. I think the world would be a lot better if we just kind of talked about things openly and tried to respect boundaries and opinions, even if we don't necessarily agree with all of them, especially if they don't affect us personally. Maybe one day we'll get to be like that. At least that's my hope. I'm like deflating. This is too much. This is a lot for anybody. Mox writes, the breaking point that led Pancake to finally stop interacting with Maxine was her consistent negativity in the server. Maxine always interjects a sour mood into conversations, and her attitude became increasingly draining. It was enough at this point. So here they're having the anime versus cartoons debate. Maxine says hi, and Pancake Lover says hi, and Maxine says, I'm really, really sorry to hear you guys get disrespected constantly. It's hard and I wish the world was different, but it's just gonna get worse, and I hope everything gets better after the worst is done. It's gonna be one big peak of it, and then finally it will just calm down maybe for a few hundred years. It just sucks we're living in the peak. And Pancake says, Maxine, can you stop being so negative all the time? It depresses me a bit. Bye, why am I giving daddy issues, slay girl? Mox continues, when Pancake asked Maxine to stop with the negativity, Maxine left the server and guilt-tripped Pancake for saying such a thing. She then started venting, exposing her own hypocrisy about needing space while disregarding everyone else's boundaries. So here, Pancake is asking if they left the server. Maxine says, yes, I'll come back when I'm ready. Pancake says, was it something I said? Maxine said, yeah. And then it's a screenshot about the negativity. Comment. Maxine says, it kind of hurt since I was trying to help somebody else. I need space for a bit. I'll be back later. I just didn't want to start a fight and have my feelings hurt because I respect you too much. So Maxine needs space, but when Pancake was asking them to lay low, they were just like, I'm going to be nice. Like, kindness is everything. Like, kindness, everyone deserves this much extra kindness. And Pancake is basically stating that they were talking about a subject. Maxine interjected with something completely irrelevant that sounded negative, and that they understand trauma can make you feel like everyone is evil, but that's not true, and that they're getting fed up with the negativity. And Maxine says, but that's personally how you feel about the intent of what I was saying, and let it affect how you interact with me on a level of basic kindness. Listen, regardless, it wasn't okay. I respect you enough to know that if you're not feeling okay, I'm not going to say that it's depressing, annoying, frustrating, because those are your feelings you're allowed to have. Why can't you do the same for me? It's a basic lack of respect. I have done nothing so far, but try to give you respect. And I'm trying to not have an argument right now. But you just sent a massive paragraph trying to justify why it was okay to do what you did instead of saying, quote, I understand you felt hurt by what I did and I apologize for that and I hope we can move forward, end quote. That doesn't mean you're admitting. It just means that you're acknowledging what you said hurt me on a level. And the massive paragraph also kind of makes me upset because it told you quite clearly I wanted some space. I just sent in a small sentence to check in with you and make sure you're okay. You don't even respond to that. You respond to something else completely. I said yesterday that I laid down my boundary with you. I want some space, please. I'm trying to not have an argument, but it's really hard when you don't respect my boundaries on this and then try to justify what you said with, quote, but I don't feel that way, end quote. And then try to bring up my trauma and give me a whole personality test about it, because that itself is incredibly rude and disrespectful. You have no idea about my trauma and I don't know anything about yours. I wouldn't make that kind of jump in disrespect towards you, so why the hell are you doing it to me? Like, this is like giving nice guy vibes, you know? You know, like the nice guys, the where's my hug guys that are like, I'm so nice, like why can't I get a girlfriend? Being nice is not a cop out. This is the same thing as the people who try to cop out by telling the truth, right? When they're like, I was just honest. Like, you can't get mad at me because I'm honest, right? This is like the same thing where it's like, why are you upset? I'm just being kind. No, because when you do it too much, you're encroaching on people's boundaries and it's annoying. Too much kindness when it's unasked for is annoying, right? Like, if you come to my house every single fucking day with pancakes, okay, I'm gonna be upset after a while. The first time, wow, that's so kind of you. The second time, oh, thank you so much. The third time, do you have a job? The fourth time, please get off my doorstep because I did not ask you to come over to my house every single fucking day. Even if it's wrapped up as a gesture of kindness, it's no longer kindness anymore when it's not something that the other person was looking for. You know what I mean? Like, a gesture is considered kind if the other person wanted it and is reciprocating it. But if the other person does not want your gesture, it is not considered kindness. It is considered you're overstepping boundaries. So Mox adds continuation of screenshots. And I guess Maxine wanted space, but she also wrote like a 10-page MLA format essay because it continues. Maxine continues, sorry, I got on a bit of a tangent there. That wasn't fair to you. What you said was very insulting and it did hurt me a lot. People assume and treat me like shit constantly. It's a never-ending tirade and I'm just kind of at my wit's end about it. I've tried so hard and it seems like every time I try to make friends or reach out to people on a human basic decency level, it's just disregarded. It's getting so tiring, thinking I can actually make friends or get even basic kindness. I understand this wasn't your intent and I'm sorry I got out of tangent and got upset. I accept your apology as well. Shit hasn't been easy recently. I won't bore you with the details. I'm trying my hardest every day and it just feels hopeless. It's even worse when the only person I could count on is my husband. I feel like a burden to him, but none of this is your concern. I'm just some people on the internet. People meet me hundreds of times and people probably meet you thousands of times a day. I shouldn't be trying to get invested in people. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm so sorry again for the tangent and I accept your apology as a recap. I'm really sorry. I just kind of assumed you were gonna shit on me. I'm so used to people doing that to me every day of my life. That's not fair. God, I feel like a cunt. I never get an apology. It's so unbelievably rare that when it happens, it's insane to me. It's something my brain can't even comprehend. Like, it's hard for me to ever think that someone is ever gonna treat me like a person because it's been so unbelievably scarce in my life. And I'm sorry. I'm trying to get better about it. I really do want to be your friend. I'm sorry if I'm not the easiest person to talk to. Look, I'm so sorry, Maxine, if something has happened in your life to make you feel this way, but please desperately get help. Like, desperately. So Mox adds, Maxine, you said you, quote, wanted some space, end quote, but when Pancake asked for space after her boundaries were violated, you kept DMing her about the sub count. She sent a massive paragraph because you made false accusations and threw a tantrum when she told you to stop. By the way, I do want to add, Maxine's insane tirade in Pancake's DMs were all because Pancake asked them to please stop being negative. It was literally one request. Hey, can you not be negative? And Maxine absolutely flipped utter shit in the DMs. Like, can you not take criticism or critique, right? It's a valid critique. Like, hey, you're pretty negative and like, I'm just gonna ask if you just don't be that negative because it's affecting my mental health. And you're flipping absolute shit. So again, this was Maxine's statement about wanting space. And here's Pancake asking for space. And then just DMing and DMing Maxine's still up in the DMs. You claim she doesn't understand your trauma, but you don't know hers either. We know you dislike the world because of how often you overshare inappropriately. While it doesn't erase any sympathy for your struggles, it's not the point here. You consistently disrespected Pancake's boundaries, yet she approached you with patience and kindness, trying to maintain civility. The genuine care and understanding she and others extend to you were met with disregard, and you chose to exploit their compassion. The fact that you tried to guilt trip me when things didn't go your way, only to follow it up by making advances under the pretense of innocence, is absolutely disgusting. I'm 18, and there's a clear gap in life experience and maturity here that you chose to ignore. The fact you've targeted multiple people within the same age range is beyond disturbing. By the way, Grim, the very first person we covered, is 20. Knowing I'm currently the youngest person you've tried this with is unsettling. You're married. What on earth is wrong with you? This isn't polyamory. This is outright exploitation. Maxine, if you're reading this, leave me, Pancake, and everyone else you've harmed alone. Seek professional help and stay away. It's appalling that as a grown adult, you've chosen to involve yourself in the lives of teenagers, crossing boundaries you had no business approaching. Stop complaining about how the world is against you when your actions have directly caused this backlash. You are the problem here. You're an adult who claims to have an 165 IQ and prides yourself on intelligence. Use it. It would be much heavily appreciated. That's the end of my thread. While it may seem innocent and straightforward at first glance, that's precisely the impression Maxine wants to give. She creates a sense of comfort and grace in mature conversations, but that's exactly how she gathers information to use against you. By the way, I will say, if you truly are like as mature as you would like to present yourself, the way you're absolutely flipping shit in people's DMs is the complete opposite of that. Maturity is in many, many regards, both intellectually speaking, having a good education. They didn't graduate college. Just because you did not get a higher education does not mean you're dumb. There are very many intellectual people who have not completed higher education, and it's for many different reasons, finances being one of them. Higher education is very expensive. But another one is emotional maturity, and that is something that is absolutely not being shown here with the way that Maxine has treated all of these other individuals. Many of them, most of them, much younger than them, right? At least 10 years younger. Because if you're 30, Grim is 20. Grim is 10 years younger than you. 2/3 of your age, by the way. And Mox is even younger. Mox is 18. Less than 2/3 of your age. Let's do the math here. That's a little weird. Again, I think like, okay, a 30-year-old and a 40-year-old, whatever. You guys probably have this similar life experiences. At that point, it's kind of like whatever, right? A 35-year-old, a 50-year-old, yeah, you guys are like more closer in life experiences. It plateaus out after a while. But in my opinion, your teenage years, your 20s is a lot of maturing, a lot of exploration. Your prefrontal cortex doesn't even develop till you're 25 years old. So as of that statement, my prefrontal cortex probably isn't even developed yet because I'm 24. So what business does a 30-year-old have up in the DMs trying to rizz up an 18-year-old? I know it's legal, but just because it's legal doesn't mean it's not weird, okay? So Mox continues, she targets young adults and teenagers, especially those who value mature perspectives or may be in vulnerable situations. This is her pattern. She manipulates guilt and overwhelms others to fill her own void. Please read these threads carefully and take note of the behaviors outlined to protect yourself. Dealing with situations like this can be incredibly exhausting and stressful. If you have a gut feeling, listen to it. If not, get an outside opinion. Trust me, it's worth it. I must say, in this case, the situation reaches a larger audience. Please do not harass her or speak on behalf of the victims. Respect our boundaries before commenting unless explicitly asked otherwise. Some of us can hold our own. We will be okay. To the victims, thank you so much for speaking out and giving Pancake and I the strength to share our stories. My heart goes out to all of you. Thank you to those who retweet and comment. It's heavily appreciated. End of thread. This is very, very well worded by Mox. They're showing a much higher level of maturity than Maxine has ever shown. And I'm really sorry that they've gone through this experience with this individual. And this is crazy because the original post that I covered is blowing up as we speak. It's now at 690 likes. And again, this is January 23rd at midnight that I'm recording it. It just turned January 23rd. I'm not even 12 hours out from this post being made. But again, to wrap this all up, here we have people like Kovacs writing, at It's Miso Soup, is this who I think it is? And Misa says, yeah, finally somebody calls her out. And Twin Celine writes, rumor behavior. And here we have the Baby Bug art writing, why did you go along with it for that long, especially being taken? You can't say you were sexualized all those times when you consented. And here on Hayden writes, 1. From what it sounds like, OP has multiple partners, 1 being their main partner. 2. Consent can be revoked at any time. Honestly, it seems like this Sharky person was so persistent with it and OP genuinely saw them as a friend, so seemingly felt pressure to go along with it. And Pancake comments, do you know the meaning of coercion and peer pressure? Which, yes, again, right? You can be okay with something in the beginning, And then because they're starting to be weird, you're like, oh, I'm not down for this anymore, right? What are the 5 pillars of consent, guys? Like, I went to UC Berkeley, okay? This is something they teach you at Berkeley, and you have to like literally say it out loud before you enter a frat. Like during frat parties, they are literally required to make you state the 5 pillars of consent before you even enter. What are the pillars of consent? The pillars: unambiguous, revocable, voluntary, enthusiastic, and informed, okay? And to me, right, well, one, towards the end of it, Grimm was not seeming very enthusiastic towards the end. It was kind of like, oh, sure, maybe later. I don't know, right? And secondly, it's revocable. You could have been okay with sending pictures in the beginning, then they get freaking weird, and you're like, oh, no, actually, I'm not down anymore, right? I don't want any like guilt tripping, any like victim blaming here in this scenario, right? These individuals are all victims of Maxine's like trauma dumpy guilting behavior, their sex pest behavior. They're all victims. Let's not be guilt trippy here, okay? Again, I don't want you guys to send hate to Maxine either. This is just kind of like an awareness thing of like, hey, here is how, you know, these types of people like Maxine weasel their way into your lives. Let's recognize these signs so that we can move on. And when people like this try to weasel their way into your lives down the line, you know how to recognize these signs. Okay, let's not engage with Maxine. They seem to really love getting subscribers, so it seems like they would love it if people engage with their content. So let's not do that. Let's not interact with them or stuff like that, you know? Don't be sending hate because that's what they would want. It would give them the interactions they're looking for. I'll have the post linked down below as well, so you can send love to Grim, Mox, and Pancake, and I'm so sorry for them having to experience everything they did at the hands of this individual that is just crossing boundaries left, right, and center. And I hope Maxine can truly get the help they need because it sounds like they do need a lot of it. And with that, to wrap it all up, I appreciate if you watched through this entire video. Like and subscribe. I've also rebranded, so I now go by a different name, Cat and Chat. So hopefully you do like this new name rebrand. I just did it because, again, my old alias, it's still an alias I use, don't get me wrong, right? It's literally right here, but it's just one that I typically use for educational content, and I felt like it was like confusing people on my biggest platform, which is TikTok, because it's all education stuff there. They would come over to my YouTube and they'd be like, what the hell is going on over here? So that's what I rebranded. There'll still be a Catlanted channel. It's going to be coming up soon. So yeah, with that, I appreciate if you check it out my Etsy shop. I have art that I sell over there. I also have stuff for free on Coffee, and I also stream on Twitch 3 days a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you guys there or in another one of my videos. Peace.